Welcome, my dear viewers. After a long gap, I have come with a topic which is very much interesting. At least, I consider it to be a very, very significant topic, and its significance will always be there. That is negative capability. John Keats had to face scathing attack from John Gibson Lockhart for writing Endymion. We cannot forget the first line of Endymion, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever." Definitely, this is one of the greatest creations of John Keats. But then it was severely criticized in Blackwood's magazine by John Gibson Lockhart. It was a very painful experience for John Keats, but he tried to hide it. Nevertheless, he wrote one letter to his brother George, where he wrote, "I think I shall be among the English poets after my death." Yes, he lives on as one of the most beloved English poets. In fact, his stature as a poet has grown steadily through all changes of fashion. I think equally popular are his letters, which were published after his death. Many of his letters act as a valuable commentary. They contain some of his profoundest thoughts on different aspects, including literary. And from these letters emerged his central critical notions of the egotistical sublime and negative capability. Today, I would like to talk about negative capability. Let me tell you, in a letter to Benjamin Bailey on 22nd of November 1817, John Keats wrote, "If a sparrow comes before my window, I take part in its existence and peek about the gravel." He is certainly talking about his power to negate his own personality and transmigrate to another person or animal or object. We can say that it is the quality of selfless receptivity in an artist, in a poet, or we can call it empathy. A month later, he wrote another letter, that is 22nd of December 1817, to his brothers George and Thomas, in which he defines this concept. He wrote, "Negative capability, that is when a man is capable of being in uncertainties, mysteries, doubts, without any irritable reaching after fact." Now it becomes clear that negative capability is not at all a negative quality. Rather, it is an extraordinary quality. It is the most sought after quality. Because most of the people have the tendency to categorize and rationalize every uncertain thing. And most of the writers, in their writing, they try to persuade his readers or her readers into his belief. In the process, most people distort and reduce reality instead of openly and actually perceiving it. For Keats, the great poet has to be able to accept intuitive insights for what they really are, instead of trying to incorporate them systematically into some rational explanatory scheme. Writers possessing this ability have the capability to negate their own personalities, to get outside of themselves, to empower the writing self inside the writer in order to perceive reality in its manifold complexity. Writers possessing this ability can maintain aesthetic distance from their subject matter. So to say, the writers possessing this ability can make impersonality and objectivity possible. To sum up, we can say that negative capability is empathy. Or we can say, negative capability is the intuitive insights. Or we can say, negative capability is the desired maturity on the part of the artist. Or we can say, negative capability is the selfless receptivity in a writer or in an artist for that matter. Later critics have found out that John Keats derived his ideas about, Shakespeare's negative capability from Leigh Hunt and Edison. But whatever the source might be, it has its own importance, and its importance will always be there. Let me explain it in detail. According to John Keats, William Shakespeare possessed negative capability in great measure. But Samuel Taylor Coleridge, he lacked it. And there will be very few writers who actually possess this capability. It is negative capability, negative for subjectivity. I negate all my personal biases. I negate all my subjective feelings. I live with the consciousness of the object, of the event, of the person on which I am going to write. Now, how William Shakespeare possessed negative capability? First of all, William Shakespeare, when he writes about a king, he becomes the king. When he writes about a very good character like Desdemona, he becomes Desdemona creatively with negative capability. And when the same person, when he writes about Iago or Iago, he becomes Iago or Iago. So to say, when he deals with Desdemona and when he deals with Iago, these are two great characters created by William Shakespeare. But while dealing with both the characters, he negates his personality. There is nothing good and bad thinking makes it so. So when he writes about Iago, it is his subject, and he is thoroughly objective in dealing with the subject. And when he is dealing with Desdemona, equally this is his subject, and he deals with it with thorough objectivity. Now in Shakespeare's plays, what we see that certain things he leaves undecided. For example, what happens to the kingdom of Scotland after the death of Macbeth? There are so many instances in his plays. So another aspect of negative capability is that life is full of mysteries. We cannot attain full knowledge of life. Life is full of uncertainties. All of a sudden in Shakespeare's plays, some characters appear and Shakespeare does not give us the clue to understand their background because Shakespeare does not feel it to be necessary. Another important aspect of Shakespeare's plays or poetry is that when he is writing about Shylock, we feel as if Shylock himself is writing. That means we don't feel the presence of the writer. The characters, they develop on their own, and different characters interact with other different characters. In the process, the play becomes dialogic. So, a person or an artist or a poet possessing negative capability means that he or she is thoroughly objective to his subject, to his materials, and he does not distort the reality. He tries to perceive the reality as it is. Now, T.S. Eliot's theory of impersonality is nothing but negative capability, because he categorically says The poetry is not the expression of the personality of the poet. Poetry is the expression of what? Poetry is the expression of powerful emotion. It's not subjective emotion as both. And in postmodernism, what we see? The postmodernists, they do not believe writing or literary works to be the representative of reality. Rather, writing itself is the reality. Or, with the modernists, literature is a kind of tool. The modernists believe that literature is a restorative force. It can drive away the ills of the society. And they mourn the fragmentation in the society. They mourn the prevailing chaos in the society. They believe that the world will be a better place and the world can be integrated, or the chaos of the society can be driven away. But postmodernists, what they do? They celebrate chaos. They celebrate fragmentation because that is the reality. However, we condemn war. There are so many literary works that condemn war. But war survives. We are still facing war. And it seems that there will always be war. So, a person or an artist possessing negative capability has the openness of mind. A person possessing negative capability accepts life as it is. He does not impose his belief into his writing. One question definitely comes to our mind, that a person that is John Keats, who is talking about negative capability, did he actually possess it? Shouldn't he possess it? Let me explain one of his beautiful poems, that is Ode to Autumn. As we read this poem, we feel as if this poem is not written by a poet, that is John Keats. Rather, this poem is written by autumn itself, as if autumn is inviting us to experience the whole of autumnal nature. It evokes all our five senses. We can see the season of autumn. We can listen to the music of autumn. We can taste the season of autumn. We can touch the season of autumn. It evokes all our five senses. Most importantly, there is no regret. Now, autumn symbolizes old days, and there is no regret that I am becoming old. There is no regret that there is no music of the season of spring. Autumn has its own music. Old age has its own beauty. So there is no pining for something, there is no regret. So he accepts life as it is. And when you think of the season of autumn, the moment a reader reads this poem, in his later life, as and when he will think of the season of autumn, this poem will come to his mind, as if John Keats has written the ultimate poem on the season of autumn. It is the real celebration of the season of autumn. And certainly, John Keats also possessed negative capability, not like William Shakespeare, but to a certain extent. Let me come out of the realm of literature. I believe when a person is endowed with negative capability, he or she becomes a real enlightened person. He or she can be a politician, can be a businessman, can be a historian, can be a farmer, can be a doctor. But if he or she possesses negative capability, his achievement will be tremendous. I personally believe that Mahatma Gandhi possessed negative capability, and therefore he has become a sustained politician. What I mean by sustained politician is that he enjoys a tremendous afterlife. He is still a hope for humanity. So many people across the world are inspired by him. Before Gandhi, there was Buddha, and Buddha possessed negative capability. Now, negative capability can be taken as a way of deriving power and strength from adversity and failure. It is an ability to gather strength and develop as a person. It is an ability to turn disadvantage into advantage. It makes a person free from anxiety. People possessing this ability can never become arrogant, cruel. Rather, people possessing negative capability become real, compassionate human beings. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.